Mr. Mwakuchum, you take a look or a reflection. According to Section 30 of CR 91, the Electoral Commission was expected or is expected to undertake these limited registration exercises. So after 2020, 2021, zilch. 2022, zilch. So ideally, we've created a backlog. And for the governing party, you sit aloof. Nothing concerns you.
No, but I mean, I think that you started off on this particular conversation, on this particular angle, where you're asking that even the government has instructed the Electoral Commission, and you're using the same angle again. And I'll say that there's absolutely no indication, and there's absolutely no motivation for government to be in cahoots with the Electoral Commission because of electoral purposes. And I'm saying that even what Suhini said about the fact that in your strongholds and everything, how do you determine that if there's limited registration and it's not done at the various polling centers like it's done, it is going to inure to the benefit of one party or the other? Or like Kwame is trying to suggest that because the Electoral Commission hasn't come out to indicate clearly why it's choosing this particular route of using the district offices, then he can sit here and conjecture or speculate that
he's a ground.
Yeah, but he's saying that.
No.
You see, we have to be very careful with some of these conversations, right? Because as we speak, this is not a platform for speculation and basically casting aspersions and creating all sorts of negative propaganda just against government.
Do you know why they're doing it? Do you know why they're doing it?
Yeah, because they're doing registration
why.
For the district assembly elections, apparently, right? That's what
they are doing. Registration and for people to have their names in the voters register.
To vote,
because people may register and decide not to vote in the
point is that. But the point is that, one, we have to also take it one by one. The elections is in 2024. Is that not the case? The Electoral Commission at every point in time during run up to any election would open up the register again for people to come and register. As far as I'm concerned, for the purposes of this is for these district assembly elections. Like I've said, like I even indicated earlier, so that I'm not sitting here trying to even become a spokesperson for the Electoral Commission. I don't intend to do that. I don't even want to do that. Is that for us as a democracy, we've even agreed that we have to do something called continuous registration. And that continuous registration means that if someone turns 18 today, they should be able to walk into the offices of the Electoral Commission or by any means that is available to them to get their names on the roll. Right? And for me, we can do all the politicking and do all the things that we want. If we do not get to a point where we are trusting each other enough and get to a system that will ensure that at every point in time, we don't even have to go into this whole idea of limited registration exercise because it's ridiculous. In terms of best practice, it doesn't happen anywhere. Right? That you turn 18, you're on the roll. Right? And we know that from time memorial, we had challenges with data. And we've agreed as a country that we want to go through a system where we have a national identification card. Now, young kids that are born today would even be able to find themselves on a national ID system, and that you graduate all the way to 18, and then automatically, as time goes on, that becomes a basis for you to be able to go and custom. That is where we are going. So yes, in times past, we've had issues, we've had challenges. It doesn't mean that we should stick to the old ways where it's giving us issues in the past because people are
Aren't you conflicting the issues?
No, I'm not conflicting anything.
You're talking about the process of using.
I'm saying that. I'm not conflicting anything.
Card.
I'm saying that.
We're talking about the process of making it accessible.
I am saying
this same process of the digital platform.
I am saying that the EC has made a decision to go through this process using their offices. It has absolutely nothing to do with the MPP government.
No, you've made that point.
It has nothing to do with that.
Nobody's contesting.
All I am saying as a citizen of this country is that, in my view, and like I even started from
so why
the onset. In my view,
why aren't they saying anything about
why
it?
is nobody saying anything?
Why isn't the MPP saying?
I'm saying something about it.
You?
Yes.
The powers that being called.
Yeah, but the party has a position. The party has representation.
That's official.
That's the party's position is that the Electoral Commission should be allowed to do whatever it's, constitutionally possible. That doesn't negate or stop the other political parties for using the judicial process to say if they are unhappy with the process. But I'm saying that as a Ghanaian, as a citizen, even the hats that I wear when it comes to this technology and all, I believe strongly that we need to get to a stage where we don't have to go through a limited registration exercise.
Eric, we haven't gotten to that stage yet.
But that is my view. That is my view, right? But there's no motivation from any quarters in government to stop people from coming on the roll because it doesn't inure to anybody's benefit. Right? And so if we want to have a situation where, like you're saying, I even indicated that the Electoral Commission itself has a PR body. And those ones, when I said that, you ignored it. It has a PR directorate. They should be more engaged. They should be telling us the reasons why.
Are they?
But why are you now inviting me to talk about it? All I'm saying is that we do not have any motivation to be in cahoots with
the ruling party,
the Electoral Commission in terms of what they do. If there are issues, the political parties that have gone to court are Ghanaians. They have every right to go and go through the process. But we have to have a certain modicum of principle. You are talking about people who have no appreciation of geography in this country. I will use my constituency as an example. And the issues to do with gerrymandering and all of those. You see, sometimes when we are not careful, for us as political people, if you're not careful, we do this back and forth, and people call that equalization, right? Let me tell you something. In my constituency, Fantiakwa South, you have to go through from Osino, you have to go through another constituency, Ebuakwa North, go through Fantiakwa North to go to certain parts of my constituency.
And
right? I'm just giving you an example. So when you say that people have no appreciation of geography and all that, we know the kind of things that have been done in the past.
But even here, you go from Kanda, you go to 37, then you go to...
What I'm trying to say to you is that we have never had a perfect system.
Okay. Do you agree?
But for us as political...
Do you agree?
So for us as politicians...
Do you agree?
If we are minded by this democracy and we want to protect
do you agree?
Sometimes this whole conversation should be based on principle.
Do you agree that distance can create inaccess or a lack of access? Do you agree?
There's so many other circumstances. I can agree to that.
Okay, thank you.
Right. When it comes to assessing even maybe local government services and all of those things, that's why I use that example. That there's somebody in Ehiamenchini or Abokobi or Abodobi who has to come through another district office to come to a district office in Osino. Right, and so if we are having these conversations, maybe we need to even go to the point of asking the Electoral Commission when it comes to even this whole demarcation of constituencies, and if it actually even makes sense. Then we can have that conversation. Myself and Suhini and Kwame can have that conversation and say that you cannot have a situation where somebody has to traverse 3 or 4 constituencies to come to the same constituency. So even when it comes to issues to do with the number of constituencies that we have, the adding new constituencies and the number of voters, you have a certain situation where you have a voter population of 30,000. In other places, you have a voter of 300,000. We can have that conversation.
Please, before Suhuni comes in, quick one, please. A quick one.
I want you to keep it all.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Suhini, there's a key question that a friend sent me. He works with one of the CSO. He says that why are the parties who have gone to court not warming up to the idea that this could be the beginning of ensuring that we have a digital system of everybody graduating onto the voters register using the Ghana card? And so what if you can complement mobilization purposes of the various communities as political parties, including the ruling party, nobody should have any problem. It means that you are one designated office at 37. Everybody from Medina, etc., should come and register, let's say, for example. But we know Northern Ghana is sparsely populated, or in many other areas also. Afram, please.
I don't really understand the question. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't get the drift. But let me look at, some of the issues that have been raised, especially by Eric. You see, voter suppression has a way of,
manifesting,
impacting certain demographics in our society. And it is, worldwide accepted that it can impact, for example, people with low income, and it can also impact people who are minority groups. And if you look at the operations of the Electoral Commission, especially since Jane Mensah was appointed, it is clear that she has been engaged in those tactics. That is why, for the longest time, the EC could not even undertake this limited registration exercise because the agenda was to use the Ghana card, knowing very well that majority of minority groups and people with low income did not have the Ghana card. So the intention was to exclude these people from being part of our voting or elections in this country.
It's also real that if we have a policy agenda, we can get everybody on the Ghana card, and we can use the Ghana card to be the right of choice to vote.
Absolutely. The NDC has never been against the possibility of using the Ghana card to vote in future. The NDC has never been against it. What the NDC has always consistently said is that let us get the registration exercise right. Registration of Ghana card right, and let's complete that exercise. Once we complete that exercise, where we are assured that over or about 90% of Ghanaians have the Ghana card, then you can begin to make it the only requirement to access the voters register. But at this stage, where the NIA is, doesn't even know what it is doing in most cases, you don't make it the only requirement, especially when you deploy more machines, more registration centers to particular regions that are politically noted to vote in a certain way. I mean, it clearly tells you that there is a grand agenda. Now, Eric again says that there's no grand agenda. I mean, who appointed this electoral commissioner? And it's not just, that's why I haven't finished. And it's not just, I haven't finished. And it's not just about who appointed her, but how was she appointed? What happened? Let's not forget the context. Let's not forget the context of her appointment. Again, who is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces? Who decides who gets military escort? Even the speaker was denied military escort. The number 3 gentleman was denied military escort. We're all in this country. They were withdrawn. But who is the commander-in-chief and who determines who gets military escort?
Okay.
Is it not the president? Now, let us not also forget that the president has said that of all the things he has achieved, the one achievement that is still outstanding for him is to hand over to a new patriotic party government.
But that one, he's president. He'll say that.
Yes, he said that. That of all the things he has done, one outstanding achievement he's determined to do is to hand over to a new patriotic party, when he's handing over. And so when you see it walking like a duck and quacking like a duck, and you deny that it is a duck, then it's up to you. I am saying that clearly there is an attempt to manipulate our voter register. It started even during COVID, when we're all forced to ignore the risk and compile a new register.
Borders were closed.
As we speak, Roland, are you aware that IT specialists or IT officers, not specialists, IT officers have been recruited by the Electoral Commission? And these IT officers are going to be posted to every district from the center here in Accra. Are you aware?
What's wrong with that?
How has it come to a point where the local electoral, commission officers can no longer recruit IT people in their communities? I mean, the whole of Upper East region, they can't get someone with IT background. The whole of the northern region. They can't get someone with IT to support the EC. The EC has to recruit, the EC headquarters is recruiting IT officers and posting them across the country for this particular exercise. What is that? What is that?
Somebody will ask
why that obsession to control this process the way that the Electoral Commission wants to control it? And that is why these other political parties are now also, waking up to the reality that this Electoral Commission, it's arrogant and is determined to pursue a certain agenda. Because when the NDC used to say it, it was as if, the NDC is fighting with the Electoral Commission. In this particular case, the parties will tell you that when they had that IPAC meeting, none of them agreed. Yeah. None of them agreed that the registration should be done at the district offices. Yet the Electoral Commission came out and issued a statement suggesting that the parties had agreed. It tells you that their minds are set on making sure that they manipulate this registration exercise, which will eventually benefit the incumbent, so that His Excellency the President will achieve his, last agenda.
Ultimate goal.
The ultimate goal of handing over to the New Patriotic Party when he is leaving office. But the people of Ghana will ensure that there is a change in 2024 so that he and his cronies will be held accountable for every penny, for every decision that they have taken in the last 8 years.
Mr. Janto, as you wrap up, is it that we're just throwing red herring, or there are genuine concerns regarding the actions of the Electoral Commission, and so that it gives people, including you, the minority parties, the concerns?
Let me use a message sent to me by
your good friend,
my learned friend, Sampi Yali. And he sends me the definition of accessible. And he says, refers to a site, I quote, facility, work environment, service, or program that is easy to approach, enter, operate, participate in, and or use safely and with dignity by a person. And the most important bit of this definition, by a person with a disability. Are you trying to tell me that in these areas where people might not be able to come, there won't be disabled people there? Will the disabled people be able to come to the districts? When you take the number of the quantum of distance, the distance of the area, will disabled people be able to do that? Will a blind man be able to do that? Will somebody who's a cripple be able to do that? Disability alone, with what the EC is trying to do, would disenfranchise them, wouldn't it? And I've told you, the crux of this particular principle is Article 42. You cannot disenfranchise anyone because they have the right and are entitled to be registered. So, the Electoral Commission should think again. Look, kata has happened in countries because of Electoral Commission.
What is kata?
Please, come now.
What is kata?
Basa.
Basa.
That one you know, basa.
That one you know.
Confusion, chaos.
Confusion, chaos. That is why I'm saying the Electoral Commissioner should act as a mother to the people of Ghana. And when they talk, she should listen. Say, okay, let's see how best. But most of all, I come back to it. Give us a reason.
Yeah.
Eric, give us a reason.
Especially when you
us a reason.
didn't have a backlog of 2 years, Roland.
Give us a
when
reason.
you didn't have a backlog of 2 years and you were doing limited registration exercise,
Right.
You were able to
opened
tell us.
1,500 centers.
Okay.
And now that you have
For
2 years backlog, you are opening only 256
Roland,
registration
you
centers.
quoted some
What is the
cases,
reason?
didn't you? Where the Electoral Commission said what? Not until they've had the determination of those cases, they are not going to move.
Yeah, there was a precedent, yes. Just in the NDC primaries, where they were supervisors.
What's different?
So we are waiting.
Okay, so the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, very long-standing organization, is currently headed by Mr. Albert Kofi Ahin, a man I know so well, had been the director of elections, I have to say, of the Electoral Commission before. And in their statement, they said when it comes to the riverine areas and areas difficult to reach, like the Dwarf Island in
the
Afram
riverine
Place,
areas. The riverine area.
Riverine.
Yes.
That's the pronunciation.
Yes.
Riverine area. Riverine areas. Thank you for the correction. English no be small. He continues by saying, that's Kodeo, I don't think the EC, and this time headed by Jean Mensah, expect voters to take a boat and come to a place like Donkor Chrome to do the registration. As an experienced person, he continues by saying that the tradition has always been that the EC will make sure people who are to do the registration stay there for a week or so to do the registration and return. Well, this is a concern. That said, one of the concerns has been that Alan has withdrawn, and that could have effects on the trust for the November election. How is the governing party managing that?
Well, I mean, the withdrawal was received by the party. The party has also issued a statement. And as far as we're concerned as a political party, it's well within the rights of any aspirant to, at any point or any stage in the process, decide to either continue or truncate the process. And so for me, or even, I mean, if you're taking a careful look, I don't think that it creates major challenges for the party at all. The process is still ongoing. By November 4th, God willing, we would have chosen our flag bearer. This whole conversation around withdrawal and the reasons that were adduced is where maybe as a political party we have a problem with. I mean, I think that certain reasons were given as a reason for the withdrawal. Now, based on the facts on the ground, it doesn't point to that. But for me, I've always maintained that we are a very competitive political party. And when it comes to processes like this, especially in an internal contest like we have in the New Patriotic Party, the stakes are always high. And when you lose an election, the emotions are also extremely raw. And for me, I feel that we need to give some time for this thing to simmer. I honestly believe that, cool heads will prevail. The party would emerge stronger. I also know that there are lessons that has to be learned from this thing. Now, it's also very clear and obvious that the vice president is going to win this election. It was, he had to be in a different planet not to appreciate the fact that this election was going to be won by the vice president. It's an overwhelming endorsement.
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
I'm saying that the vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, would win the primaries, would be flag
You mean it
bearer
was
there.
already...
It's in the works. So you have to.
So that's why Alan resigned?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
So what
that,
are you saying?
I'm telling you that the man has withdrawn, and the party has taken that in good faith. We believe that the reasons that he adduced are probably not tenable. However, the party has also gone on to even say that some of the things that were said are going to be investigated. The disciplinary committee has been tasked to undertake that particular job. And I think that it will come out. And this party will emerge stronger. We've gone through even worse cycles in the past, and we've been able to emerge. But I'm saying that as we speak, the vice president is in the forefront and is in the pole position to win this primaries. Bring everybody on board. All the various aspirants and all the various supporters of other aspirants will come on board to prosecute an agenda to win 2024 so that we can continue with the developmental trajectory that we are on. That is, for me, is the key.
Okay. I can just give you 2 minutes on this. Since you are just an ex-official observer. 2 minutes, please. 120 seconds.
You know, Roland, my disappointment in Alan on this move is that he seemed to have learned nothing. Especially, he seemed not to have known that Nana Akufo-Addo forgets nothing that is politically important to him.
Oh, how?
I mean, clearly, he should have known the mafia that he was coming up against. His reaction suggests to me that he didn't anticipate what, he faced during the first round of the elections. And that, to me, is disappointing because a politician of his caliber should have anticipated even worse and prepared, especially with the opponent that he had in Nana Akufo-Addo. Look, Roland, I heard the president before the elections, as usual, contradict himself when he sought to say that he had no favorite in the race. Did you listen to him very well?
Yes, I did.
So did you hear him after, speaking eloquently about how he had no favorite? He ended up by criticizing those who were distancing themselves from his record. Did you listen to him? So you have no favorites, but you criticize those in the race who are distancing themselves from your record. And we all know that in the race, the only person who had no choice but to defend your record was your running mate. And so you criticize all those who had risen to distance themselves from your record, but you praise the person, or without even praising, but it is clear that that's your favorite. The one who is extolling your virtues and defending your record is your favorite. And so clearly, and the president has hijacked the NPP.
Oh, how?
He clearly has control. In fact, he hijacked the NPP even when President Kufuor was president. And anybody who doesn't know this, then has not been following our politics that well. He hijacked the NPP when he was not even president. And as president, he has entrenched his hold on the party. And so to upstage him, Alan should have been better prepared. And that, for me, is my disappointment, because Nana Akufo-Addo was not going to give it to him on a silver platter. And he should have known, especially because you faced him. And that same mafia was used against you in Legon. I mean, when Afoko and others, an attack was staged to create the confusion that inured to the benefit of Nana Akufo-Addo. So I am really, really disappointed, because the leadership of the party is in the pocket of the president. And so Alan should have, anticipated the challenges that he is facing and appropriately, plan to overcome those, instead of just allowing those to kill his ambition of leading the new patriotic party. I'm not surprised at all.
Mr. Gentleman, someone will say that for opposition parties,
with the leadership of the party,
ruling party problems. Just a minute.
Why? Are they not ruling the country? The decisions they take don't affect all of us. But let me tell you something. The president has checked out.
Oh, yes, he has.
He's checked out.
Yeah.
No, he'll be checking out.
I said he's checked out.
On January 7, 2025.
I said the president has checked out.
He says he's waiting for a new leader.
He said he's waiting for a new leader.
He's just enjoying the largesse until a new leader.
He's waiting for a new leader. Now, let me tell you.
Don't expect any.
For me, let me tell you the
solutions
cracks.
from him.
Let me tell you the cracks.
Unlike the previous leader who said, I will fix it.
Let me tell you the
He
cracks.
says, I'm waiting for a new leader.
Let me tell you the cracks of
These guys, they came from the same.
Alan's
Alan's
statement.
Before they got here.
Alan's, no,
Can I have a minute?
I haven't seen him in some time. He says in the statement, the question I keep asking myself is, how did we get here as a party in the first place? And how far are we prepared to tread on this dangerous path to self-destruction? Yes.
Yes. Roland.
And please, and I keep saying this, people don't listen, parties don't listen. Learn from the CPP. Learn from the CPP.
You build it around a personality.
Where we are today. Where we are today.
You let one person have too much control of your party.
All right, Master Planner Junior Kintampo says Honorable Suhini should rather be disappointed in Dr. Dufour when he withdrew from the NDC presidential race after the sabotage and mafia they did to him. Dr. Baumia is winning the base based on his strength and loyalty to the party. Master Planner Junior Kintampo. That said, we also have Triddles. Triddles says the Electoral Commission led by Jim Mensah should be very careful not to plunge the country into chaos. And then also we have some PL. He says, just check that Mr. Hyangba and Deputy General of or General Secretary of the MPPA are all from the Dankwa Institute. Okay, so he's insinuating that there is an agenda.
The party is in the man's pocket.
And then also I have Amoda Hamidu. J. Mensa wants to cause katakata. As Lawyer Janto has said, for once we should listen to the plight of Ghanaians. Good morning. Roland, remind the EC that this was the same way they tried, and then there were gunshots in Tamale, meaning anything can happen when the pressure comes to EC offices when we don't have many of them. We have this one from Pukwasi Benghazi. MPP member Sialan's withdrawal from their presidential aspirant race has affected the party in a negative way. The question is, what did they do to him? And then we have more. We have this one from Chief Mante. Jane Mensa is not behaving like a woman. Okay, how do women behave?
Motherly.
Motherly, okay.
Loving.
Musa Abatwaina Swanse. Today is Friday and it's a spiritual day for we the Muslim. I'm using this day to request for inflative. Okay, you said prayers for John Dramani Mahama. Now, I have a couple more. Ken from Medina says, even Greater Accra and Ashanti regions have problems. How much more those outside these areas? And these are,
Mr. Joshua said something that is critical about the president checking out. You recall that when Dumso was at its peak, that was about the second year or so of President Mahama's presidency. He didn't throw his hands in the air. He said, I will fix it. And he did by the time he left office. This president tells us that
the decision of the EC to do the voters registration
in this crisis.
To celebrate,
we are not angry enough as a people. We are too tolerant.
We're taking a break.
This abysmal failure.
We're tolerant for a break. We'll be right back.
Tolerant of this abysmal